Hello, everybody! I am a random Darklink, and if you are tuning in here thinking this is a game analysis video, I apologize. It is technically a game analysis video, though it is merely a bonus to add onto the playthrough I am recording and uploading to this channel, tentatively named by my gamertag, a random Darklink, as I want to do something fun here with this game. If you want to check that playthrough out, you are more than welcome to. The playlist is a random Darklink plays Fire Emblem Engage. And if you want to watch this video for the fun of it, you are more than welcome to as well. I really don't care. You have your own life. I'm merely just a guy that is trying to pass the time waiting for my leave of absence to end at work. So, rather than tack on my choice of a partner in giving the Pact ring to, for those of you who know, I just recently completed the paralogue that ended up giving me the Pact ring, so now I can, quote-unquote, marry someone, even though that isn't at all possible in this game. I am instead creating the mother of all showcases, having a little fun with it. I am not going to do it based on combat prowess. That's not what the analysis is about. This is merely for fun and trying to add something to a game that has honestly disappointed me a little bit. I gotta make it through this game somehow, and I figured doing something as fun as this might add something to my experience and hopefully maybe have me consider picking up this game again, because I have gone on record saying I will not pick up this game again after I finish it, after the load that was dropped regarding Elir and his character, because honestly, I'm still trying to grapple with it somehow. I'll be grappling with it at the end of this video with a little bit of analysis regarding that. But anyways, I appreciate you clicking on this video. I appreciate you willing to hear me out. If you like what you are hearing, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe. I'm trying to reach 100 subs by the end of this month. Realistically, probably the end of summer. I don't care which. I'm just appreciative of everyone who's willing to give their support to me. And I don't know what else I could say other than bring on the showcase. Anyways, this is how it works. I have multiple ace supports from all across the continent of Elios, and as a result, a lot of people to showcase. I am only looking at my own ace supports. I will not be analyzing everyone. For the sake of organization, I'm going to group segments of individuals by country, and will be introducing every candidate for the Pact ring by their join time. There is a lot. Not all of them are romantic. Some of them will be platonic. There will be a disclaimer on which are considered romantic and those that are considered platonic. An initial introduction will be generously provided by the owner of the accessory shop, right here, this wonderful individual, and will be paired alongside the supports that led me to my answer before moving on to the next candidate, provided by the Reminisce ability. Each set of candidates will have music pertaining to their country of origin playing in the thumbnail, and to do that, I will be utilizing this music box to change to multiple acoustic renditions of the country. As we have a lot of people once again to get through, it's probably for the best that I start before I go off on a never-ending tangent, as I have a habit to do so. And we begin with the Lethos candidates. To begin this showcase, we have Clan, and Clan is one of the first people we meet in this story, and alongside his twin sister, who we will get to later, serves as the 33rd steward of the Divine Dragon. A platonic candidate for the coveted Pact ring, he is a dedicated individual with a knack for pickle making, who takes on numerous responsibilities according to his duties as steward. In any regular case, this would be quite a strong character trait to consider in proclaiming someone as your most trusted confidant. However, the main drawback of Clan is his struggle to take care of himself as a result of taking on too much responsibility. And this becomes an issue so much so that his idol, the Divine Dragon, has to order him to take a rest to make sure he is actually taking care of himself.
I owe my plate with more of those tasty, tasty responsibilities. Anything for the Divine Dragon. Seriously, whatever you tell me to do, I'll do it. Go ahead, give me an order.
Well, if you insist, I order you to get some rest.
No fair. You cheated.
Case and point. As such, it came to my attention that the ring, giving him this pact ring, may bear too much responsibility and negatively impact him more than it helps. For the sake of his health, Clan has been disqualified from contention for the pact ring. Fram is in a similar boat as one of the first people we meet in the story, and, as previously mentioned, serves alongside her twin brother as the 33rd steward of the Divine Dragon. She is also a platonic candidate who serves a different niche for the Divine Dragon compared to her brother, being their personal cheerleader to keep them up while they feel down. It's a wonderful strength, but unfortunately it becomes buried underneath by some of the most creepy fangirling ever, which undermines the energy this person exudes.
Divine One, you look so shiny when you sweat.
Yeah, red flag, automatic disqualification. I don't want you taking the pact ring and developing some kind of fetish toward the sweat stains on the ring. Next, we have Vander, a typical stuck-in-his-ways older vassal character who is the 32nd steward of the Divine Dragon. The third platonic option for the pact ring, he might be a little stern with the individuals planning to succeed him, those being Clan and Fram. However, it's for the sake of their growth and development into the best stewards they can be. That's him. You will not find a more dedicated individual to serve as a trusted confidant. However, when considering the person he is serving, his main flaw is that he conflates his idea of servitude to a person who doesn't feel like he needs a servant to do stuff like what Vander does.
I'm sorry, but I can't do this.
Do what, precisely?
Vander, do you think I'm unreliable?
What? Goodness, no! We are mortals, and you are the Divine One. Our magnificent leader, if you take my meaning. For you to perform lowly tasks that are mine to execute is most gracious, but uncalled for.
I'm sorry, but I don't feel comfortable having a servant. That's not who I am.
Just trust me on this. Vander finds a way to convince Alira that this kind of autonomy is somehow a bad thing in their next support. And granted, it's not with malice. However, while his intentions are good, he is disregarding the wishes of the person he chose to serve. And this is a concern for me personally. As such, I cannot in good conscience confer the pact ring to this individual. 3 candidates down, and it's been clear that the initial supporting cast leaves something to be desired beyond servitude. It isn't until we get to Firene that we get to know a multitude of different characters with a lot more than just the Divine Dragon on their minds. Enter the poster boy for Firene. Alfred, while he is the prince of the nation who loves to work out and be a pal to everyone, he is also the first romance candidate for the pact ring to be showcased here. Yes, that also means what you think it means.
Yes, incredible stuff. Practically a Firenese national treasure.
Yes, that's right. This guy is LGBT plus friendly, being an absolute sweetheart, especially to you when you may feel like you don't deserve it.
I appreciate the beautiful breakfasts you've been bringing me in the mornings, but would you please stop making them?
Oh no! They've been too heavy on the meat, haven't they? I just wanted you to get strong.
To be honest, they do have a ton of meat, but that's not why I'm bringing it up. I just feel bad that you've gone out of your way to do this for me every morning.
In terms of first impressions, he comes out rather strong and has such an ability to win your heart quickly with how fun he can be as a character.
No!
Unfortunately, he has a major flaw that greatly diminishes the prospect as a proper romance, as he has a hard time letting people know just how much he is truly hurting.
Yeah, if I train hard enough, then I won't suffer like I used to.
Alfred? What's wrong?
Don't worry, Saline. It's just an attack. It'll pass soon.
An attack? Is it your old illness?
I was doing so well. That part of my life was supposed to be long gone.
Wait here. I'll fetch someone at once.
No, stop!
What? Why should I?
I don't want anyone to see me like this. Not our allies, the Emblems, or the Divine Dragon. I can't let them see this. A weak prince unfit to fight who could collapse any day?
As a result, he still has room to grow in this aspect, and given this game's runtime with an inability to stray away from the most outlandish of character quirks and support conversations, this is almost near impossible for him to do so before you inevitably give the Pact ring to your most trusted. I am disqualifying Alfred from Pact ring contention, not because I believe he would be a terrible prospect, but because what he needs right now is a friend who will allow him to talk about this with no stigma attached to it. His retainer Etier, while a platonic candidate for the Pact ring, takes the hobby Alfred has for exercise and makes it her life. With the addition of enjoying flowers and tea parties with her childhood friend and her religious sister, she also has an additional role of being one of those characters who were a little easygoing regarding some stuff that would initially seem problematic to others. Like in the case of the Divine Dragon, staring at her confident aura.
There's confidence all over you. It's kind of inspiring to look at.
Which is why you were staring.
Forgive me, Etier. If it bothers you, I'll stop.
Nah, I don't mind. I'm actually a little honored to help out the Divine One. If staring at me lifts your mood, go ahead and stare all you want.
As one of the more confident individuals in the army, she can be a decent accountability partner as you try to change your life around. At the same time, what makes me disqualify her from contention is how much she can let her exercise hobby get the better of her, leading to some rather rude and avoidable mishaps, which have her in some cases ruining another's day out of her short-sighted quest to discover the mystery behind someone's routine.
This should hit the spot.
Hold it.
What is it now?
I bet that sandwich is where you're keeping your secrets.
No, my sandwich!
Yeah, take a look at yourself in the mirror, Etier. You're out of the running for the Pact ring, which I am sorry to say doesn't include actual running. Alfred's sister, Saline, is one of the more interesting candidates for a platonic Pact ring bond to form, as she is an individual made to complement a specific kind of person.
I really enjoyed our tea party today. Thanks for inviting me, Saline.
Is the tea to your liking, Princess Saline?
We have some free time today. How do you intend to spend it?
That's a good question. Why don't we take a ride on your Pegasus to a nearby tea farm? Must thank you, Jean.
Princess Saline, what are you thanking me for?
The tea produced in your hometown is far and away my favorite.
It's been a while since we had time for a cup of tea together, Princess Saline.
Oh my. What is that you're drinking, Lapis? It smells heavenly.
Princess Saline, this is regular tea. Yep, nothing special about it.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say. Any little parts of her character take a back road to the drink that is inaccurately described as hot leaf juice. Her flaws are almost tame in comparison to everyone else, as it is merely derived from differences in taste, as opposed to concerning character traits that inhibit a person's ability, my own ability, to trust someone. As such, it's enough to earn my first consideration for the Pact ring, although I must admit I don't have a preference for tea. I am like Hubert in that regard, so don't expect me to give her the Pact ring. Only the second romance candidate for the Pact ring, Louis has the honor of being one of the most misunderstood options you have. A lot of individuals like to point out that Louis is a little creepy due to the habit of people watching he likes to do. Unfortunately, this version of Louis is not doing so out of any kind of malice, but real curiosity.
Take a look at that, Louis. Isn't it lovely how that couple shares a meal together? The girl hand feeds the boy, and then the boy returns the gesture. So intimate. Like a prince and princess from my fairy tales.
It's quite a sight. One imagines the sort of lives they lead, how they met, and so forth.
It's out of an admiration for the beauty that human interaction creates. And as a guy who has a bachelor's degree in psychology, I clearly have to admit human behavior is fascinating. I am drawn to people that have the same appreciation for observation, so I may be a little biased here. Even then, he also has a great story regarding his care for his brothers.
3 younger brothers behind back in my hometown.
So you're the oldest?
Yes, I am the oldest of us 4.
Wow. It must have been tough being the big brother.
I suppose so, from a certain point of view. Our mother passed away before her time, so it was up to me to raise them. But I loved them nonetheless. We all muddled through together somehow.
He is also one hell of a butler.
It's me that you are pleased.
Might I trouble you for another cupful?
Of course. I have an ample enough supply of leaves to brew another pot.
Thank you. What a joy this tea is.
The bliss on my princess's face makes it worth the trouble.
Is something the matter with your arm?
Nothing of note. Just a minor incident on my outing to fetch the tea leaves.
What happened?
These tea leaves were not farm-grown, alas. They arise naturally in the wild. The path to their native fields is treacherous due to the ferocious beasts who nest there.
Yeah, this man is grade A marriage material, and that is why I'm so comfortable sharing more and more of him than necessary. So, congrats, he is the first finalist for the Pact ring here on this playthrough of mine. To finish off my Firenese A supports, Chloe has quite a lot going for her as a romance candidate for the Pact ring. She's quite eccentric, what with her seemingly unending craving for the most peculiar of delicacies being the centerpiece of this eccentricity.
Besides, I packed some food we can eat while we take in the scenery.
You did? Oh, yeah! Good move, Chloe. You always think ahead. Pretty scenery, a tasty lunch. This is turning out more like a weekend picnic or something. Woo! Weekend picnic! Wait a second. You planned this all along, didn't you? You knew this quest would be a dud.
Does it matter?
Nah, I'm too hungry to stay mad now. Bring on the grub.
Here you go. 1 plate of dried fish eyeballs, just for you.
Ugh, one of your funky folk food lunches? Now this quest is definitely a dud.
Overall, though, she really, at the heart of it all, wants to try new things, despite the shortcomings and possibilities of failure. taking an example with the Fountain of Youth quest. And that is a major green flag for me in terms of showing a willingness to grow. It also shows a tenacity in the face of uncertainty, which is surprisingly in line with her fairy tale aspirations. Yeah, I don't have a dating game summary for you guys. Chloe is just another finalist for the Pact ring. That's Firene. It was a prince who was trying to keep stuff buried deep down. An archer with a penchant for exercise. A tea fanatic. A misunderstood knight. And a Pegasus knight ripped right out of a fairy tale. That's all. That's all. No one else. No one else unless you count someone seriously out of my age range. Yeah, I'm not giving the Pact ring to a child. Brodia, the country located to the north of this land of flowers, has its own candidates to offer up. The first one, not even within the country, but fleeing a life that she once led there. Yunaka, the first of the Brodian candidates, is a platonic option that, at the moment of this showcase, right now, in this showcase, is a front-runner in this category. Not only was her first impression on me the most whimsical I've seen, but the more I got to know her, the more I've realized just how much I genuinely felt for her. While she has a similar problem to Alfred that involves her putting on a facade, she is someone who's actively trying to move past her old life.
Laying the groundwork for a project.
What kind of project?
Truth is, I've been wanting to set up a fund to help underprivileged kids. That meeting was going to be the start. I was planning to propose the idea there.
Oh, so that's why you've been asking so many people about the Brodian Assembly.
Exactly. My goal is to do all I can to make sure no kid has to go through what I went through.
As such, while Alfred's truth actively endangers him, Yunaka's truth is something that doesn't need to be talked about if it runs the risk of her going back to her old life. If anything, it's a motivating factor to push her into something new that may be uncertain, a little scary, but can ultimately do good. In actuality, she doesn't really mind talking about this experience, even if she is still hesitant. If the Pact ring is able to show her that she can move past her old life, I am more than willing to give that ring to her just to show how much she is valued and appreciated. She is truly deserving of it as a finalist from the Kingdom of Brodia, and don't be surprised if I actually end up giving it to her at some point. Unfortunately, I'm not so sure if I could give this guy the ring because I have no idea how... Okay, it's not necessarily that I have no idea, it's just like I feel I have a general idea of how he would react if I would give it to him. Alchrist, the younger of the Crown Princes of Brodia, is a frustrating platonic candidate because it really doesn't matter if I want to give this ring to him. As I said before, I have a feeling that... Now, it may be completely unfounded, but I have a strong feeling that giving him the ring wouldn't go so well.
I am so sorry!
That pose. Is he about to bow in apology like the incident at the border?
Mr. Wolf, I'm so sorry! Don't come any closer. Please don't look at me like this.
Problem this time. Are you really gonna turn down my help after all that?
You called me a friend. You agreed to help me, Princess Hortensia. You are, without a shadow of a doubt, a wonderful person. But the more wonderful you are, the deeper I tumble into despair.
What?
Your kind heart shines too bright. It reveals my heart for the worm-ridden filth that it is. So please, don't come near me. Spare me. I am so sorry. I really am useless. But that's impossible. I don't deserve such kindness. Oh, this is bad. If you continue, I may find myself in a dangerous spot. Your pure heart is shining a spotlight on me. You'll reveal me for the waste that I am.
Why are you standing like that? Are you okay?
I'm preparing to bow.
And why are you doing that?
I want to be ready in case I need to apologize for something.
Oh, for the love of... There's no need for that. I just wanted to discuss that wolf incident.
Yeah, I feel like he would just disqualify himself and run away while screaming, "I'm not worthy!" like an extra in a Wayne's World skit. So, I'm just going to say that I wish I could consider him if he wasn't so hard on himself. His retainer Lapis, on the other hand, is the first romance candidate from Brodia, and I have gone on record saying she is one of the most underrated characters in the game. You get someone who, probably because of her extended time around the walking bag of pessimism that is Alchrist, I mean, also in tandem with her own experiences, is hesitant to recognize just how cool she actually is as a master builder who has skill in making a variety of goods.
Well, I'd love it if you did. I think it's really amazing you can make those kinds of things.
No, please don't tease me like that.
I'm not teasing. Your crafting skills could be very useful on the battlefield. Would you be willing to teach me how to make a few things? I'd like to learn.
It feels strange to be complimented for such a modest skill. But yes, I can show you how to make a pack right now. Watch closely.
All right.
Whoa!
Your hands move so fast. Can we, go back a few steps?
This particular thing she is building right here also complements a training regimen that puts Etier to shame regarding intensity, which is mentioned earlier in this support. This, by extension, highlights the real breadth of knowledge she has regarding various subjects, as well as a willingness to be a teacher to whoever shows a passion for something quite out of the realm of normalcy. Like bear hunting.
Will you help me take that bear down, Lapis? Please?
Oh, Fram. All right, if you really are serious about this, I'll help you hunt that bear.
Really?
But you'll need to listen carefully and follow my instructions. Wild bears are very dangerous.
It's these qualities, despite the fear of others judging her for being a country bumpkin, that... Okay, that was a little rude, but that really does make me consider Lapis to be another finalist level candidate for the Pact ring, as she also serves the role of a partner who can lend you the right stuff while facilitating the growth of others, whether or not she intentionally knows she's doing it or not. It's nice. Getting deeper into Brodia, we end up with the final A support I obtained in the older prince and soon-to-be king, Diamant. All I can say is, despite Alchrist praising him in a way that undermines himself, his brother, Diamant's brother, was onto something, and that he is an absolute dream boy. The most handsome candidate hands down, and probably the most natural of the romance candidates for the Pact ring. Yeah, the support between the Divine Dragon and him leaves something to be desired starting off.
Ah! One of the corrupted! The corrupted? Where? Diamant, help!
Whew. Thanks for the save, Diamant. Sorry to trouble you like that.
However, Despite the poor start, it slowly transitions to one of the biggest character developments among a candidate. A natural progression that grows into a bond built upon learning how to be vulnerable.
Say one thing. Knowing that you do have a vulnerable side makes me feel a bit closer to you. Vulnerability isn't always a bad thing.
You're a peculiar leader, Divine One.
Of course I do. I worry a lot. My plate is full, and caterpillars keep dropping on it. You know what I mean, right?
Yes. And I see what you meant earlier about vulnerability. I feel closer to you too.
Really? All of a sudden? But you've seen this side of me before. I fled from that corrupted soldier in such a panic.
I remember. What I mean is, you make me feel safe enough to discuss my deepest concerns. If it weren't for you, I might still be clutching that medal and thinking about my father. I'm grateful for that. Thank you, Divine One.
This presents a side of a character that really just appeals to me, and shows, like many candidates, a willingness to grow that is essential in any form of relationship. You are on your way, man. Finalist for the Pact ring. When examining the Brodian candidates I developed an ace support with, there are quite a few quality candidates that lean heavily on the theme of growth. One wishes to grow past a previous life, another facilitating the growth of others, and another wishing to be vulnerable. Transitioning to the examination of Elusia's candidates, there is quite a decent amount of competition that they must contend with, unfortunately, as due to the later joy time, the latter half of this showcase overall will be coming in with a lot to prove. This part of our little showcase starts out rough when examining Ivy, who I struggle to consider as the first romantic candidate for the Pact ring from this country, due to one major flaw it's nothing against her. I mean, I get the reasons why, you know, you would do something like this or develop something like this. A talent out of hiding your feelings. Something that is brought up in the B support unlock page in her notebook entry for the Allied notebook. Despite that, her support suggests little instances of trying to work through that from each individual conversation she has with her allies.
That first night, you helped me find the way when I was lost. The second time, you gave me advice on how to find peaceful sleep. Much as I am loath to admit it, I am deeply in your debt.
And that's bad somehow?
Oh dear. You are not, by any chance, afraid of ghosts, are you?
I am, in fact, terrified to the very brink of my composure. The stain on the wall like a human silhouette. The handprints on the windows. The stale air. It is only by force of will that I remain here. Conscious. Not screaming. My dignity hangs by one last thread of decorum. The pride I take in my royal office. That thread is about to snap. Yes, it will snap any moment now. Even a princess is only human after all. So, with that, I'm getting out of here!
Like a cup of tea. I'll put on a pot of the black tea blend I've been saving.
Tea does sound lovely, actually. Thank you.
Aha!
What? What is it?
I thought I detected the faintest hint of a smile just now.
She can also be quite the master at playfully teasing someone, if you are somehow into that.
Worth, I am sorry.
Oh? And what do you mean by that exactly?
Huh? What?
Did you just issue a formal apology from the Kingdom of Brodia for its invasions of our land? Are you admitting fault on behalf of your people and swearing to adopt peaceful foreign policy? Reconciliation between nations is a serious matter, not to be taken lightly.
That's not what I meant to say was, If Brodia is at fault, then we absolutely should apologize. But that apology is not mine to give. The king and nobility would have to convene and agree. So when I said I was sorry, it came from me as an individual, not as a representative of...
I know that. I'm sorry. You are a little too easy to toy with.
Why I happen to have an issue with Ivy in particular comes from her support with the person who has the ability to grant the Pact ring.
I am rather more comfortable around you now, so I suppose it's time.
I'm glad to hear that. Can we start with why you seem to have such anger toward me?
I love you.
Huh?
Just looking back on this conversation just tells me she has a lot left to do to move past her hesitancy to show her feelings. Because unfortunately, starting off with just that, without any context...
I love you, Divine One. My feelings began long before I met you. Understand, I do not mean romantically. I adore you as a worshipper adores a deity.
I am disqualifying her from contention for the sake of friendship more than anything. She could have just led with that. I'm rooting for you, Ivy. I really am. You're making great strides. I'm more inclined to give the ring to someone else. I hope you can understand. In comparison, Kagetsu as a romantic option irons out the rough edges of the previous candidates. Like many others, I think Kagetsu overall is one of the strongest romantic options to consider in this showcase, due to the many good qualities this guy exudes. For starters, he is a guy who is genuinely curious and relishes the opportunity to grow connections, even if it is a little forward.
What are the differences between dragon and human? Interesting. Oh, is it also true that you slumbered in the somniel for 1,000 years? What was it that woke you after all that time? Did you tire of sleeping? And what were you doing before you went to sleep?
Questions, Kagetsu. Why are you so interested in me?
Why should I not be? We are friends, of course.
Friends? We've actually not spoken that much.
Why must you insist on fighting my princess?
I have journeyed far from Pale Sands in search of strong opponents to face in battle.
Pale Sands? You mean the remote region in Solm? The one shrouded in mystery?
To me, it is everything outside of Pale Sands that is shrouded in mystery. That is why I set out on my journey, to explore the strange world outside my home. I have met many strong opponents in my travels. I have also seen how each country's customs, culture, and history inform its fighters. This is why I seek a duel with Princess Tamara. I wish to learn more about Solm. Princess Ivy! I was raised in Pale Sands.
Okay. Why are you telling me this?
You said you dislike unknown quantities. So, I am going to tell you everything about myself. Then, I will be known.
The motivation for this is also justified in that he wanted to go beyond the confines of his homeland. A relatable motivation for so many.
But I have also long dreamed to see the world at large. That is why I explained to them in writing my decision to leave. And I am on this journey now. I may not seem it, but I was born to royalty. I was trained always to preserve my legacy. That meant always being home, thinking only of family. It was sad, never to step outside of that.
But now you fight with us for a cause you believe in. I'm sure your family is proud of you and the difference you're making in the world.
Maybe so. Did you have any other questions for me? I am happy to answer.
This is also complemented by some of the best handled quirks in the game, especially considering his love for onigiri.
How could I be so foolish? Dropping my onigiri, my one and only lunch. What do I do?
And his fortune-telling quirk.
I am thinking. You have the ability to see the future. You never predict anything important, but your predictions are correct every single time.
Kind of you to notice.
It was not a compliment. I don't understand how you do it. I find it unsettling.
This man is talked about a lot for a reason, and I'm inclined to agree that he has been on my mind a lot. One of the strongest candidates. Don't be surprised if he is the one that inevitably gets the Pact ring.
I am unsettling?
To end off the illusion segment of the showcase is another quality individual who I clearly denoted as best guy. While only a platonic candidate, Rosado is probably one of the biggest risks intelligence systems has taken regarding this archetype of character, and they did it well. So much so on my initial reaction to him, I was not expecting a deeper voice to come out of his mouth. Legit, I had to go into his unit details to confirm his pronouns, and it was nothing but love going forward. He's a cute guy, and he's not afraid to confidently flaunt it.
Appreciate the way you take care of yourself and your appearance. Your hair is so shiny. It practically glows. And your skin, it's the picture of health. I'm dying to know what your beauty secret is.
Aw, thanks so much.
He's also really determined when it comes to finding and capturing beautiful scenery, as he is one of the fastest sketching artists in this army. He is the fastest, to be quite honest, but so much so that he's motivated to continually increase his standards when given feedback on one of his projects.
Aw, sweet of you to say. But if you're expecting more, I need to raise the stakes. Hey, maybe you could help me. There's a spot I want to get to, but it's a tough hike. It would definitely help to have a buddy.
I'd love to come along.
And when going deep into the motivation for why he wants to draw all this beautiful scenery, he really provided a deepness that can sometimes be a struggle to find within this game.
Is your passion for art really only about likes?
What?
Watching you draw that day, it felt like maybe you had another goal, beyond validation.
I guess I do. The world is filled with so much beauty. Most people only get to see a little of it.
True. It's impossible for people to see everything on their own.
That's such a waste, isn't it? There are forms of beauty out there we don't even have names for. Unique, precious things. If I can show people even a little more of the diversity in the world, I'll be happy. It'll mean I've helped build a world where folks accept and appreciate each other's differences.
He, alongside Yunaka, is a frontrunner to be the top platonic option for me, mostly because the mission he wishes to take on as a result of this landscape showcase resonates a lot for me as a pan-romantic autistic person. Don't be surprised if he ends up with the ring too. He's really high up there on my list. So, to recap the showcase, we've eliminated Lethos from contention, and every country managed to produce some strong candidates for the Pact ring so far. Alusia, while starting off a little shaky, managed to provide two of the best in both categories. Sorry, Madeline. When considering a romantic or platonic connection. To shift our focus over to the last country we journey to in the game, Somme has some of the most wild options for me to consider overall. And yeah, I don't know how, but every character I gravitated to there happened to be a romance option and not a platonic one. As a result, this is almost like saving the best for last, but I mean, I'll be real here. I really don't know if that's an accurate depiction. In any case, to start off this whole showcase here, we have Bunet, a chef who unfortunately leaves a bad taste in my mouth. While showing a willingness to learn both in the kitchen and outside of it, one situation in particular has me quite concerned about his character as a whole. While he learns from this experience, and I'm quite appreciative of this, I still don't know how that, despite the standard not being clearly communicated, because I don't think it was a standard that needed to be communicated in the first place, why he thought this was a good idea to do.
You're emitting a scent that I do not recognize.
Oh, that. I got some sauce on a bit of clothing at lunch. It was such a small amount, I didn't think anyone would notice. Sorry, I'll go change.
No, no. Please, allow me to find inspiration in this curious scent.
Oh.
This must be from a dish I'm not familiar with. Might I ask you for a quick lick? I'm not familiar with this dish you ate.
Say what you want. This is one of the instances like Brandon McGinnis shines as a leer, as the uncomfortable tone in this line says all.
We'll figure it out. In the meantime, I'm going to go change. Excuse me.
To quote someone in particular, results. Results for today's battle. Bonet avoids a harassment lawsuit and loses by virtue of the eventual restraining order put on him. Not a really good bucket to be lumped into. The same cannot be said about Pandreo, who is perhaps the strongest candidate for the Pact ring that Psalm has to offer. Instead of being a one-note character that he could have easily been given his profession as a priest who worships the divine dragon, Pandreo is someone who actively challenges the stereotypes of his role. While being a devout man of the cloth, he is the biggest party animal in this entire game, and he is just the kind of party animal that wants everyone to be included. He is truly a firm believer that anyone can party.
I do not understand why everyone keeps howling. My skull is rattling.
Ah, now I see the problem. Listen, Your Highness. There's something I forgot to tell you. At a party, you don't need to worry about what's, whys, and hows. It's not that deep.
Really? Are you sure?
Yep. There's no correct way to dance. And as for the howls, they don't mean anything.
So all of the cheering and dancing is chaotic on purpose? People are just making it up?
Exactly! It's about getting lost in the motion and having fun. Other than that, anything goes.
From a distance, people may see me as a god, but up close, I'm nothing special. Why disappoint everyone by letting them find out that the divine dragon is just a person?
That's what you're worried about? I must have given you the wrong impression. Listen, when I was a boy, you saved my life.
What? How? I was asleep.
Well, my parents were scummy, frankly. They left my sister and me when we were little. But a priest at the church turned my life around with a little-known prophecy. When the dragon child rises from their slumber on the dais, saved the world will be. Screwed up as the world got, it would be saved. That gave me the hope I needed to keep going, and I'm not alone. The faithful have always believed that you would awaken. So no, you won't disappoint them. You're living proof that their hopes are coming to pass.
He is just the kind of guy to turn to when you may feel doubtful about who you are and what you provide everyone else. It's this quality, and this quality alone, that makes him a strong candidate to get the Pact ring. Moving on to Panette, Pandreo's sister, her as a romantic option is someone that I can only give a consideration to due to the hit and miss nature of her character. This is mostly due to the fact that it's easy to compare her to her brother and the way each handled the trauma they've endured. Now, I'm going to make sure that I preface this. The way that she handles it, that's not the reason why I can only give her consideration. And so let me elaborate. Pandreo tries to reform the corrupt portions of his family legacy, while Panette ran away while hiding behind a fake accent, a fake dialect of sophistication.
How come you've never told me off for running away from home?
Why would I? I was glad you got out when you did.
Huh. I always imagined you'd hold a grudge against me for flying the coop.
Nah, I just wasn't brave enough to do likewise. Wasn't sure I could make it alone.
I play this segment of the support conversation because I need to make it perfectly clear that difference isn't the issue. Both are valid ways to figure out how to live, as Pandreo will point out right now.
Meanwhile, look at you. A retainer. You struck out on your own and made a life for yourself. I'll bet those parents of ours would be glad to see how well you're doing.
He is a supportive brother, and Panette did what she had to. I'm not faulting that. If anything, it's more of Panette suffers from the same issue that can plague a lot of characters: an inadequate time to grow. She does make progress over time, however it's not as foolproof as it takes many considerable connections to eventually make peace with her family, as seen through comparing supports side by side, because Pandreo drops a bombshell in this one in particular.
I doubt it. They probably don't care about me one way or another.
Listen, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I'm not one to keep secrets. Mom and Dad tried to find you.
What? Wolf dung? There's no way. Damn. I guess it won't be so easy to find them after all.
Panette? You're up late.
Good evening, Divine One.
What's that letter you're reading?
I employed a Solmic investigator to find my parents. This is her report. Alas, it seems the search has come up empty.
Huh. I thought you said your parents were horrible people.
Yes, well, our conversation made me realize I have some feelings in need of resolution.
Okay, so the issue that I have is that this conversation can be done before that B-level conversation between Pandreo and her. And while there is some kind of plot hole there, I'd say it more exemplifies the real-time and necessary growth it takes to move on from something like this. Especially considering how she does want to do it. She does. And it takes a lot of connections to eventually get to that point. It isn't just a straightforward line, step by step. And unfortunately, that's ultimately what's keeping me from going on and making her a full finalist. It's just because she isn't given the time to properly grow like this. If she did, she'd be head over heels one of my favorite characters, but that's just unfortunately the way the game is played. I really hope she figures out all this in the end. She doesn't deserve this scummy life. And finally, to round out the Solmic candidates, we have Marin, which is someone I didn't even script to talk about in this showcase. Mostly because, while I don't mind her as a character, I enjoy her quirks, I enjoy everything about her in regards to how she's presented as this cool knight that's maybe just a little bit clumsy but is trying her best, while also having a real affinity for rare critters, as she would call it. I just love the way that it's just, she cutely describes it. She unfortunately has one of the most offensive and demoralizing support chains with the Divine Dragon in this game.
How long do you plan to do that exactly?
As long as it takes. Don't you worry. I'm not going to stop until I've captured every last detail.
Oh, please, cut it out.
What? I was just...
You were just nothing. I'm not one of your critters, okay? Yes, I am a dragon. I live longer than humans and have certain unique abilities, but I also have feelings. I don't appreciate being gawked at like an animal.
It's an honest mistake she makes. It is an honest mistake. Okay? I don't hold anything against her for that. However, given my own personal background with, you know, feeling as though I had to conform to a certain image, and to the instance of being treated as someone I never wanted to be treated as, I'll be honest, it hits a little hard for me. And the most that I can usually do at times is just step back quietly, trying to close off that chapter as best as I possibly can before moving on. I sincerely hope that Marin continues to learn from this experience. But honestly, this treatment of Alear really, it's something. With that, the showcase has concluded. A decision has to be made. When looking at my personal experiences with this game, I feel really bad for Alear because of the hesitant, rushed actions by the developers at Intelligent Systems to throw multiple ideas to the wind without any regard to the consequences of said actions. At the time that this video is being released, a decent portion of my playthrough has already been completed up to a certain point. I have a saga of this entire experience in which I dubbed Countdown to Garbage Day, which is a weird title to put on something, but once again, the meaning of it was I end up getting a lot really heated, like really emotional at the way that they handled this stuff. Now, for me, one of the difficulties of being a person on the spectrum is that it takes a while for my reasoning to really catch up to my emotions. Because let's be real here. If you look at the social intuitionist model, it's something that was proposed by Jonathan Haidt. We tend to interact more and make haste judgments based on how we feel in the moment, and then we figure out reasoning to back it up later. For me, there's a lot more of a delay, because sometimes I'm just unaware of why it is that I feel this way, and I need to find some way to logically understand why I just didn't like it, because at the end of the day, I probably just didn't like it, but through this logical exercise, I could at least try and close the gap between logic and emotion. And so, to get back on track here, Alear is in a real pickle with his life, as not only did he survive the wounds sustained by his father, the fell dragon Sombron, in a previous life, he actually died despite the divine dragon power funneled into him by Lumera after a 1,000-year sleep. Unconcerned with knowing the consequences of such a state, he asked his sister to revive him as a corrupted, only to end up dying again as a result of wasting his power summoning emblems, petering out his energy. And then we get to when his life inevitably changed, if you can call it that. The reason he is alive is because 12 emblems, spirits trapped and tied to various magical rings, resulted in him becoming an emblem himself. Yes, as you can see, he looks like his old self. He looks like a physical being you and I can both see. But that doesn't change the fact that his power is stored within what became his emblem ring. So, that begs the question. Can Alear have the same experiences as a person with a completely physical body? No, I don't think so. And my reasoning is not based on any sort of pessimism. His status as an emblem, the nature of his existence, has consequences that I cannot just ignore as the player. It must affect, in some way, his ability to enjoy other things, despite having a physical appearance not surrounded in a perpetual aura as the other emblems do. Case in point, the dialogue he had with the emblems, right as he was turned into one. Marth said it himself. Death is something that cannot be undone. Sigurd also alluded to the difference of Alear between the other emblems. And this is his quote verbatim. "We emblems have only ever been spirits, but you had a physical form." To give context, this was after Celica explains how the spirits were housed in the ring, and how the rings were tied to their own power. A simple tense change can change so much. If only Sigurd had said, "But you have a physical form," as opposed, "But you had a physical form." The meaning changes so much when you switch had and have. The tense implies the past, before becoming an emblem, that he had a physical form. In other words, what you see right now is not physical. It's not truly physical. I refuse to believe that Alear is a being capable of the full range of experience that the romantic relationship runs into. Because he's a different kind of being. And, you know, we could get into the whole idea of, like, love shouldn't matter if, you know, you're a being with a otherworldly aura. I mean, yeah, it shouldn't matter, but it is going to make things difficult for them. It is going to make things difficult for him. It will only stay romantic. It can't evolve beyond that. Like, he'll need to adopt individuals to succeed him as the divine dragon. He can't have blood-related children at the most realistic natural level. And I say the most realistic natural level, leaving room for the possibility of a divine transfer that Lumera performs over the course of over 1,000 years, which even then, I don't know if he has the ability to do, because I don't know how much being an emblem truly affects that power. The game does not give that answer to us. There are consequences to a Lear's transformation. And unfortunately, I don't think intelligent systems did a good job at recognizing these, leaving the player to think hard about what this might mean, because the game doesn't tell you outright. It has a major impact on the player's choice for the Pact ring, because from my own standpoint, I tend to tie myself more to games when I'm able to relate to the characters who are in them. And generally, when I feel like I feel like I relate to a character more when they still have some semblance of their humanity. Some semblance of the very real flawed persona that encompasses the human condition. I cannot truly imagine what kind of experience it entails being an Emblem and having to make this choice. Because our view as humans on relationships is based on a decent amount of physical interaction. It's a big part of it. As a result, this logic, for all case and purposes, because at the end of the day, I am the player providing the human aspect to the character that I'm supposed to be a self-insert of. Or at least I'm supposed to self-insert into a Lear here. This logic has led me to eliminate the romantic option out of a personal choice, because I wouldn't want to put any actual person through that. That just leaves the platonic options I have. Yunaka and Rosado. Comparing both side by side, they both have decent cases for the Pact ring. Yunaka, as I mentioned, wants to move past her old life, wants to start again, wants to do good in the world and prevent what happened to her from happening to another child that grew up in her circumstances. Rosado, while appearing one note, has a deep motivation driving his character. As an artist who loves cute things, wanting to maintain a positive attitude, he wants to use his art to take beauty to individuals who may not have the chance to see them, in hopes they recognize the beauty in the diversity he portrays that can be, therefore, applied to the diversity of individuals. I appreciate both characters so much and the role they play in making this game all the more bearable, and I wish I could give a Pact ring to both, as they've been great experiences throughout. In terms of a personal interest, though, and I can't believe I'm saying this, the way I saw Yunaka articulate herself and her motivations to Citrine really has me thinking she doesn't need the Pact ring to pursue what she is passionate about. As such, I think we all know where this is headed. I initially fell for Rosado's look, but the more I removed my ignorance for this game's options, I have to say that being friends for life with such a wonderfully amazing guy is something I am all for. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to time pass in the Somniel if I even have a shot at giving this ring to him.
I was surprised to learn of this duty to wake the divine dragon. Still asleep. This may be a problem. A leader prone to oversleeping could cause trouble for the little ones. Awake at last. Very good. Now, get out of bed. I will not allow you to go back to sleep.
Nell knows what we have to do. And hopefully we have the ability to do it. It would have been really awkward if I had to go to sleep again after I initially said that. Anywho, just in case I want to change my mind later. I don't know if you could tell by the landscapes I draw in Divine One, but it turns out I love it here. Rosado, wow, okay, so the option is just right there, okay. Oh, okay, yeah, this is platonic, right? It's not gonna go... It's not gonna be weird, right? Yep. Yep, I'm giving the Pact ring to him. Okay, we're doing this.
Hey, Divine One. You think I'm cute, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Of course. You're adorable.
Yeah.
Glad we're on the same page. That should make this easier.
What do you have to say?
Since I'm currently the cutest person in your life, there's something I want you to have. Okay.
Yeah, this is...
Here it is. What do you think, Divine One?
A hair clip? It's beautiful.
Yeah, okay.
Nothing but the best. I got it back home, in the village of the fair folk.
I'm grateful, but why are you giving this to me?
Yeah, I'm really curious myself.
Because if you wear it, then you'll be the cutest person in your life.
Self-love?
Me? The cutest? That's right. As an expert on the subject, I believe I'd know. In fact, you wouldn't just be the cutest in your own life. You'd be the cutest in mine, too. I'm sure you understand. It isn't easy for me to admit something like that.
The problem is this is completely platonic.
But I can't help it. You're that special to me, Divine One.
It's all good. It's all good. You don't have to compromise, you know, being the cutest person here for my sake. You're a bestie.
That deserves a like.
What?
I'm glad you said something. I feel the same way about you, Rosado. You're my closest friend. I'm so grateful to be a part of your life.
Yay.
Aw, Divine One.
Besties!
So, there's something I want you to have as well.
The Pact ring? This is a precious gift. Are you sure you want me to have it?
I spent an entire video figuring out who it is that I was going to, you know, yeah. I'm pretty sure, like, this is what I want, yeah.
I can't just give you a like and leave it at that.
This is a gesture more in line with how I feel. In that case, I'll happily accept. It's an adorable ring after all. Fitting that it came from you. And since this kind of cuteness goes with everything, I think I'll wear it all the time.
Hey, appreciate it, bestie.
Please do. Nothing would make me happier. Let it serve as a reminder of our everlasting friendship then.
Definitely. Definitely. Best friends for life.
No matter what happens, as long as you see this on my finger, you know I'll be there for you.
Great. I am all for that, man. We better paint some good stuff, then. We better paint some damn good stuff, okay? Hey! If unit initiates combat, grants bonus to crit and dodge equal to 2 times the number of allies who've acted this turn. Oh! An exclusive page? Glad to hear it. I'm going to go now. Happy Pride Month. I'm recording this in June. Sorry it took me a little while to say it. Take care now. If you'll just stop recording the first time I press the button, thank you.